Alright, so I've redrawn this. This is about, I don't know, 2/3 the size of what we had on the other one. But just want to show y'all how to cut this out and give y'all a couple tips and tricks. We've got a jigsaw here for doing this. Main thing is go slow. If you get to where you're really pushing hard on this thing, it's going to try to walk on you and it's going to get offline. You may want to do a better job marking off your stuff. I had gone with permanent marker on this one instead of going with pencil and made a couple redos on this area. So anyway, got a little bit of work to do and make sure that I keep this cut out the right way. But we're going to cut off this end first, get it something square. I'm not even going to worry about some of these radiuses. I'm just going to go ahead and go off through them. We'll worry about cleaning them up, catching these radiuses after we get the main bulk of it cut out. So first cut's kind of rough. Just skip stuff, go straight, get it where it's manageable, pay attention to what's underneath. Got my sawhorses underneath here, so I'm trying to make sure that I don't cut them all to pieces. But you can take a 2x4, slide a 2x4 or something like that underneath there to where it gets it up off of your sawhorses. But I'm just gonna move this thing around, so probably gonna get loud, but I'll try to fast forward it so y'all can see what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and start on this and ease into the corner here. If you just start easing in slowly and keeping your jigsaw at a pretty high RPM, it'll get to where it finally gets into it to where you can take off and go. Any tight radiuses like this one, you may have to go a little bit and back up a little bit and go a little bit and back up to where you can get this thing to cut, depending on what kind of blade you've got on here. If you got a real fine tooth, a skinny blade, you can make those intricate cuts, but I've just got a rough saw one, so. One thing I talked about on the other one, I've got this piece here that we cut off. When we take that and flip it over here, line it up on this side, I've got the exact radius now. And even if it comes out and it's got some jags on it or something like that, you're still going to be able to make a pretty decent replica of the cut on this side. And then once you smooth it out, sand it and all that stuff, you're never going to see it.
I don't know if you can see this. I started to get off of my line right here. Instead of jerking over and trying to get back onto it, since nobody really knows what this radius is, you can take and just keep it smooth. And so you see where I started walking off the line just a little bit right here, and then I kept it about the same the rest of the way. As far as an 1/8 of an inch is concerned, nobody's ever going to know that on this sort of a radius thing. So the important thing is just keeping that smooth and making that to where it can be smoothed out. This last part, if you got a drill and a bit, probably be a good idea to go ahead and drill your hole in this. That way you can drop your blade in. If you don't, if all you got is a jigsaw, you can take and roll this into it, but I wouldn't recommend it if you aren't real comfortable using a jigsaw and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it like that just because I'm hard-headed. But what you want to do if you do something like this, well, you probably don't want to do it like that.
got something to carry it by. Alright, now we want to clean this thing up, get the edges nice and smooth, make it where we can paint it, take care of it. What we want to do, MDF is really easy to work with. It sands easily, it cleans up nice, it makes good smooth corners. But we need something flat. So this is just chunk that I had a minute ago that I cut off. I'm going to wrap my block around it. Now what we can do is on this side that we used the jigsaw on, of course we got factory edge here so it's good and smooth. But this one, just running it down back and forth on this end is going to get us to where we're smooth enough to finish up the paint. Also use a block whenever you go around these radiuses. If you don't use a block, you're going to end up pushing and rounding and making it uneven. Using the block and keeping it perfectly up and down is going to make this edge smooth and straight, and then also help make these radiuses all pretty even. Also on this, you want to always sand this way. If you take and sand up and down on this, MDF has a little bit of it's basically just particles of wood that are glued together, but you can chip off the edges of it and it's not going to be real sharp looking. Inside corners, you just get your sandpaper up to the end of your block. You can even go past a little bit and just go into the corner. And it's going to bump it and hit it. You can take and do like I'm doing right there and go up and down just a little bit to get in that inside corner, but come back in and fix up your ends. So I'm going to go around that. The other thing that you want to do is at the end, finish with this block and round these corners. If you use something like a orbital sander, if you've got access to something like that, it's real easy to burn a dip in this to where it's got a big hump out of it, and you're going to see it just plain as day after you get it painted. So I like using a block. Just quickly go around the edges and just lightly round them off, and that's going to help with the lines of it as well. Even if you got a spot right here like this that's maybe a little bit rougher than some of the other areas, if you just around the edges of it, it's really going to make it to where it's all clean and pretty.